All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 36 of the Vikings Territory Roundtable. I'm your host, Brett Anderson. I'm joined by my guys, fellow VT staff members. We got Sam Newman in the bottom left-hand corner, got Sean Borman in the bottom right-hand corner, and Austin Bilal in the upper right-hand corner. All of our Twitter handles are beneath our photos. Make sure you follow us on Twitter for all of the latest Vikings territory coverage. And just random Vikings talk. That's what we do on there. We, make fun of the Packers and stuff like that. So we got a lot to talk about today, guys. We had no post game show last weekend, so we're going to be doing some catch up today, talking about a variety of different things. I think the best starting point for us to get into tonight is talking about the most important factor in last week's game. Obviously, was a Mr. Teddy Bridgewater taking the field. As you guys know, Teddy got to see the field for the first time in almost 2 full seasons since he had that awful knee injury. And it was an amazing moment, man. The Vikings got far enough ahead of the Bengals where, Zim felt comfortable getting Teddy into the game. The entire crowd knew it was coming. You could hear the chants on the TV broadcast like well before he even started taking the field. Wait, Sean, were you there? Were you at the game?
Yeah, I was there.
Right. Okay. So you'll be able to speak firsthand to, I guess, this moment. Teddy chants are ringing. The entire team's fired up. Like they're showing Case Keenum, running around, getting people pumped up on the sideline, which is just amazing. So I don't know. It might be one of my favorite moments of this entire season so far. So Teddy finally gets to see the field. He comes in, hands the ball off a couple times, and then he gets to throw his first pass. He drops back, and it hits the hands of Jerick McKinnon, and the ball's intercepted. So, I don't know, kind of anticlimactic, but also kind of funny, right? Like, did any of you guys laugh when that happened? Because I couldn't do anything other than laugh because I kind of felt like, what else were we expecting to happen on his first pass? It was such a high moment, and as a Vikings fan, of course, it had to be followed by kind of a low. Anyway, I don't think it really matters. He could have thrown 4 picks for all I care, and it still would have been an amazing moment. So what'd you guys think? Like, I guess I'll start off with you, Sean. Like, what'd you think about that moment since you were actually at the game?
Well, I've been lucky enough to be at his first career start as well at TCF Bank Stadium against Atlanta, and that was a cool moment as well. Both moments were anticipated, to some degree. But I felt like this moment surpassed his first career start just because people respect him a little bit more now that they've seen what he can do as a quarterback. And for me, it was just a cool moment. Everybody's behind him. The team is rolling. And I guess I would, there's going to be some Teddy haters always, but more people respect him now, like I said. And having him back is exciting.
Yeah. What'd you guys think, Austin, Sean? Sam, do you guys want to say anything about this? The moment, what it meant to you, what it meant to the team?
I think everybody has the same thought. You like to see Teddy come back. You like to see his teammates cheer him on. I don't know, Sean, was it super, super loud there? Like,
yeah, I was sitting next to my girlfriend. I've been at a lot of loud Vikings games. It wasn't the loudest moment ever, but to me, it was probably, like Brett said, he was probably your favorite moment of the season. It might have been my favorite moment ever being at a Vikings game, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was cool. I was almost, God, this is going to sound bad, but I almost wasn't like locked into the game at that point. I wasn't as excited because I've kind of bought into Case as the guy this year. So I was admittedly watching Red Zone when it happened, and I missed a lot of it.
You were watching Red Zone during a Vikings game?
Well, it was a blowout, and I wanted to see the Packers lose, so I turned it.
Fantasy implications.
We pay you to watch the Vikings play a full game.
You do, but YouTube's a great thing.
I'm just kidding. Sam, what do you think, man?
Do you want me to ruin this for you, Brett?
You don't have to ruin it. You know what? You're not going to ruin. Nothing can be ruined for me at this point. I'm
a little grinchy on it. No, I actually did think it was a really, really cool moment. Almost a Minnesotan moment. The way everybody got so excited. Just a very hospitable hot dish sort of feel that Sean's describing in that stadium. I thought that was really, really cool because this is one of our guys, you know, now that he's been drafted for the Vikings. He's one of ours. And I thought that was really, really cool. A lot of people, I saw numerous people say they were tearing up and crying.
I didn't get that close.
Whatever. I'd like it. Sure. Cool. Mazel tov. Maybe get a dog or something, but that's fine too. But I just think that we act a little bit like he's the first player to ever come back from injury. I know it was a bad injury. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. And I think it was a great moment. Strangely, I think it almost couldn't have gone better. Not necessarily for the Vikings, but because of the unfortunate interception, which was tipped, and then Michael Floyd just drops the ball. It was a perfect pass on the second drive. But if he had come and just led a dominant touchdown drive, even against the Bengals, who had some backups in and were disinterested at that point, there would be a lot more talk about firing up some Teddy bandwagon this week. And I just think we know. Would. You don't think there would be? Because I do.
I don't think so.
There's still people out there who are like, I hope we see week 17.
Well, because the circumstance that led him to getting onto the field wasn't a poor Keenum performance. You know what I mean? So if he comes in and plays in garbage time at the end of the game and leads a touchdown drive, I think it would have meant as little as him coming onto the field and throwing an interception in his first game.
Interesting.
I don't know if the Vikings are in a position where they can get comfortable and say, yeah, we're ready to put out our backups or our second string guys in week 17. They really haven't been in a situation like this before where, one, they're in the driver's seat, and two, they have a chance at the number 1 seed. Like, you want to go out there, and I think you want to make a statement. And if you can get Teddy in there, second half of week 17 because you're up, 28-0, then do it. But it's not. I don't want it to be a situation where they blow out the Packers week 16 because that's going to happen. And then he plays week 17 because they got everything they need locked up. I would rather just finish the year with Case, let him get hot, let him ride his streak into the playoffs.
All right. Well, we might talk about week 17 possibilities later. I think when we're talking about the playoffs and stuff, playoff clinching scenarios. But I think, Sam, I want to backtrack a little bit because I don't think it was as meaningless as him throwing an interception. I think it was as meaningless for his position the rest of this season. You know what I mean? So I think if he would have came on and led the team, to a touchdown, I don't think that would have changed anything this season. I do think it obviously would have been better for him had he come on the field and looked, just great right out of the gate, because I think it would have let the team get a closer look at him. They maybe would have felt more comfortable if Case goes down. And also moving forward into the offseason, there would have been better tape for him to kind of either show the Vikings or show other teams and say, hey, this is still what I'm capable of. So I'm sure, Teddy doesn't feel it wouldn't matter either way. But I just don't think it would have. I don't think you would have heard a large sector of Vikings fans clamoring for Teddy to become the starting quarterback if he would have led a touchdown drive. I mean, there still would have been a small group of the ridiculous people that probably would have, but
the vocal minority. You're probably right, and I probably listened to them a little bit too much. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think I agree with you that it wouldn't have changed anything with the team. I don't think Zimmer is going to start Teddy Bridgewater all of a sudden. But with the fact that, again, I didn't want him to throw an interception. I wanted him to do well. I'm not cold-hearted at all. I just think that has the potential to play into the Vikings' hands positively into the offseason. Say that's all we see of him this year. Yeah. Say like Austin's case does play week 17, keeps playing through the playoffs, whatever happens there happens. Teddy's price is as low as it's gonna get, and I think that's going to be important one way or another in this offseason.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And we've talked about it before, like what's best for Teddy, what's best selfishly for the team long term from a salary standpoint, So I agree that, but I don't know that other teams are going to evaluate those two passes and really take anything away from it, to be honest.
I don't think so either. But if you let a dominant drive, they might.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I had next regarding Teddy was I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on whether or not you thought Teddy did enough to get his starting back job from Keenum. I'm just kidding.
Wait, what was that?
No, I have a whole list of stupid questions like that. Like, has Teddy regressed in your guys' opinion? On the opposite hand, did Teddy hurt the team? enough to show the front office that it's time to move on from him entirely.
He did throw the first shutout since 1993. So
right. And how do you guys feel about Teddy being snubbed from the Pro Bowl after his comeback game Sunday?
Terrific questions.
No, seriously, like I think to close out this topic, I think what was most important for me about this was it offered some sort of closure on this whole Teddy thing. And I don't know, man, like I feel different about the whole Teddy situation now. And I feel differently moving forward about this whole thing. You know, I still want him to be on the team. I still would prefer that the Vikings don't lose him and can somehow manage to keep him next year. But I feel like now I'd be more at peace with it if it does happen and he ends up moving on from the Vikings. Just because I got to see him come back. I got to see him take a snap, you know, after this horrific injury. You know, our guy got to come back on the field as the crowd cheered him on, as his entire team cheered him on. So I just feel like it was the perfect closure. And like I said before, I really think it was one of the best moments of this year. So anything else to add on this topic? No. You guys ready to talk about QB number 1, Case Keenum?
Sam Bradford.
So, yep. Sam Bradford. All right. So Keenum had a pretty good game. I felt like it started off kind of slow. Maybe not. Like I felt like some of, you know, like it kind of took a while for the offense to get going, but I think once he did, things looked really good. He was 20 for 23 for 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 86.96 completion percentage. I don't know why I'm saying 86.96. Like the .96 is important. 87 completion percentage and 138 passer rating. That was his best completion percentage of the year. I just want to run through some rankings really quick on Keenum. So Keenum's number 8 in the NFL in passer rating right now. He's number 3 in QBR behind Watson and Wentz, who are no longer starting. So wow. I guess you could say Keenum is the number 1 QBR as far as starting quarterbacks at this point. And I thought this was interesting too. No QB in the NFL that has played more than 10 games has been sacked less than Keenum. And I bring that up. I know you could probably say like, well, yeah, that's the O-line because the O-line's improved. But how many times have we sat here and talked about like how slippery Case Keenum is in the pocket? I mean, we've joked about whether or not like he's oiling himself up before games, because there was a few times even this week where he just manages to, you know, slip away from some of these surefire sacks that, you know, you think he's going to get creamed. So, you know, I don't really have like a lot of talkers regarding Case Keenum. I just thought since we were talking about Teddy, we should talk about Keenum's game. Is there any more concern with you guys moving forward the rest of the season into the playoffs with Keenum? Anything at all that you need to see from him at this point, or you feel like he needs to improve on? Or Sam, you kind of talked about him in your bump and run a little bit. You pointed out some negatives or something, or
yeah, I just sort of handle. I think that we have a tendency to just sort of see things the way we want to see them, and some people enjoy or gravitate more towards just trying to find hey, maybe here's some ways he can improve. Here's some things he doesn't do that well, that sort of thing. And so I just think, regardless of that, everything's going great. Everything's going perfect. I mean, you gave his numbers. That's an incredibly efficient performance last Sunday against the Bengals. Yes, it's the Bengals, and even more than that, it was just a complete offensive performance. I mean, a lot of that, how good those numbers were, was a product of the scheme. I mean, how many times was McKinnon wide open? And, you know, obviously the other players, that's how it all works. That was my point with the bump and run. It all works in tandem. So we don't need to say, this guy's only doing well because these guys are making him look good. Yeah, the receivers are making Case Keenum look good. You know what else? He's making the offensive line look good when he's getting out of those sacks, like you mentioned, Brett. You can say a dozen of those things, and there'll still be more with this offense and how it all works in tandem. So I am happy with everything.
What do you guys think about the whole going back and finding the all-22 footage and just circling all these guys that are open down the field and kind of critiquing them in that manner? Do you think that's fair?
I wish I had so much time to do that. That'd be fun.
Well, that's not what I mean. But I mean, I think it's kind of funny. Like we go back and look at the film and say, you know, oh, Keenum, obviously, you know, there was this guy, you know, streaking down the field. He was wide open and Keenum missed him. Like Keenum somehow has the all-22 footage during the play or something. you know, and he's over on this side of the field trying to escape a sack, and he, you know, obviously can see this guy way down on the other side of the field. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of simplify it to, well, he's open, so obviously Keenum, you know, should have hit him there, you know. I don't know. I just think
we're basically at like a steak dinner at the most expensive steakhouse right now on this awesome winning streak, this awesome season, and people want to sit down at the table and tell me that, oh, their meat isn't cooked perfectly. And it's like, you got to take your words.
That analogy, I might get a little pissed off if my meat wasn't cooked perfectly at the fanciest steak. Because overcooking a steak is like, you know.
And like, oh, there's a little too much red in there.
Right.
Anyway.
Wait, Austin, are you a medium well guy? Is that what you're trying to tell us? Because I may have to.
I like medium rare on the rare side. So
that's what I'm talking about. Continue.
Yes.
Sean, don't make that face, because I swear if you tell me that you lean on the well side, you will be booted from this table faster than you're a Packers fan.
I'm a medium well guy. You got a problem with that?
Oh, come on, man.
What's wrong with that?
Everything.
You should basically don't even say well when you're talking about steaks. Just sub in overcooked for well. So when you ask for your steak, say I'd like it medium overcooked, please.
Oh, I can't have it if it's burnt, but if it's done, you know, well enough, then you're not going to get diseases and all that crap.
Yeah, you like when all the flavors.
We got to get a VT retreat going. Fix this. We got to fire up the grill.
Yeah, man.
People who want to complain about this season, it's like complaining about, oh, you know what it's like? I got an analogy. It's like getting a free ride to the best buffet you can go to and saying there's too much food.
Right? There you go.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't.
I like that one better.
There's not that much that's going wrong. Every quarterback misses throws. You know, we're lucky enough to have receivers that make him look good on inaccurate throws. Like, let's just accept that. Let's just say, hey, you know what? Cason's going to make every throw, but we got receivers to negate that. Why do you think Cam Newton has Devin Funchess and Greg Olsen as targets? Like, every team plays to their quarterback weaknesses and strengths. So
yeah,
I don't know why we're still at this point where we're saying, well, he missed this guy. I mean, I even tweeted it. I said, look, I don't want to be that guy, but he did miss Kyle Carter streaking down the field on that one of those McKinnon passes. It happens. No, it happens, right? Yeah. There's always an explanation for it. Can he not see over the offensive line if he's booting to the right and throwing back to the left? You know, was McKinnon the safer option and he saw Kyle Carter down the field as a blocker? So yeah, we can sit kind of in our ivory towers and say, oh, he's not doing this right, but I'm never going to complain about a positive play.
Right.
If it gains 40 yards, what's the problem?
Right. This offense is right now 8th in yards and 10th in points. With this defense, that is lethal.
Which we're talking about next. We're going to get into this defense next.
I just think that's why we're seeing all these wins. I mean, it's obvious when you have a dominant defense like they do, if your offense is going to be in the top 10, that's lethal. Like, sorry, do you want top 3? You want number 1? Like anything else? I mean, come on. It's football. You know, the other teams are trying too. I just think we should be in awe of how far this offense has come in essentially a single offseason with the backup quarterback.
Sean, this is so you had mentioned that you wanted to make a Case Keenum comp. So I'm going to give you the floor to do that. I'm ready for it. Hope you're ready.
Yeah, this was just a thought that kind of crossed my mind actually before the Atlanta game when, you know, Vikings.com was covering Tarkenton. He lives on in Atlanta. So they're talking to him, and I don't even know where it crossed my mind, but I'm like, you know, hey, they're kind of similar in a way as far as Tarkenton and Keenum. Both of them are mobile quarterbacks. They're scramblers. They're smart. They don't make many turnovers. And like Sam said, they make the offense kind of work in tandem. And on top of that, they have elite defenses behind them. So to expect the results of Tarkenton and the Purple People Eaters of the 70s, you know, they went to 4 NFC Championship games in 5 years, might be a little strong at this point. But I thought it was a pretty fair comparison, honestly.
I can't find anything wrong with it. Can you guys? I mean, like, I'm also not super knowledgeable about Fran Tarkenton. I mean, I've watched him a bit, but
yeah, I thought the same. I actually watched some highlights on Tarkenton, and they're not really that similar as far as scrambling. In fact, Tarkenton would make huge, like, figure eights on the field.
Like Russell Wilson type scrambles?
Yeah, exactly. He'd go way back. But he did know how to escape the pocket when needed, like Keenum. And like I said, he makes the team, the overall offense better. He utilizes every aspect of it. He makes the offensive line better when he needs to scramble, and he finds his pass catchers. So
it's funny. Would any of you expected that we'd be sitting here in week 16 comparing Case Keenum to France Harkinson?
It's so bizarre.
It's just kind of bizarre.
Maybe some of our older viewers can.
And that's not a slight on your. I'm not slighting your opinion at all. I'm just like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, this season's just crazy. It's crazy.
It's a good take.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. All right, so Sam, you kind of hinted at the defensive performance. So I'm just going to kind of run through, like I did for Case Keenum, some crazy stats. So against the Bengals had 161 yards against the Vikings through 4 quarters, 115 through the air, and 46 rushing. They were 1 for 13 on 3rd down. I can't remember how that compares to the Atlanta game, but I know the Atlanta game was pretty similar on 3rd down. So the Vikings were not allowing conversions this past Sunday. We finally managed to get some turnovers. So we had the Eric Kendricks interception, and then Terrence Newman had that crazy under the leg but not under the leg interception. That was kind of cool. So it was great to finally see this defense produce some turnovers, because that's one thing they haven't really done this year too much. So this one was cool. Drew shared this one during the game. The Bengals had 38 yards in the first half, and Eric Kendricks had 31 on his interception return.
Yeah,
so the entire Vikings or the entire Bengals offense had 7 more yards than the Vikings linebacker in the first half. AJ Green, 4 targets, 2 receptions for 30 yards. So the Vikings secondary with Xavier Rhodes continues to shut down elite quarterbacks. The Vikings are 2nd in total net yards allowed in the NFL behind Denver. They're 3rd in passing yards allowed, 2nd in rushing yards allowed, and 2nd in points. A lot of those are behind the Jaguars, who are just having an incredible season defensively and offensively, I guess. More on Xavier. Well, come on, man. They're putting up points too. I mean, considering, right? Like comparatively to prior Jaguars performance, they're doing well. And then Xavier Rhodes, this one was really cool. This was by Jordan Reed, who shared this one on Twitter. Since 2016, Xavier Rhodes has held Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, and AJ Green to a combined 9 catches for 94 yards. So all 4 of those receivers combined for 9 catches for 94 yards. It's insane, man. So I guess, once again, this is one of those things I'm kind of recapping Sunday and talking about how amazing this team is because it's fun. Is there any weakness on this defense that you guys see right now? Like, how do you attack this defense if you're an offense coming in? Like, is there anything you can do? Do you guys see anything outside of losing players to injuries at this point? Knock on wood.
Beating Russell Wilson and Cam Newton. That's about it. I mean, get guys who can get the defense out of the structure after 4 seconds of clock and see what happens, because I really don't think there's any team that's going to line up against the Vikings and run the ball well, pass the ball well. It's got to be self-inflicted errors. It's got to be tremendous individual performances by quarterbacks or running backs or receivers. But I don't think any team's going to line up and beat them 11 versus 11.
Right.
Someone said attack Waynes in the chat, and he might be the weakest link on the defense, but I don't think that makes him a weakness, if that makes sense.
Come on, are we still not on the Trey Waynes bandwagon yet? What's going on here?
He's been great.
What more does this guy need to do in order to establish himself as a very competent number 2 cornerback on this team? I'm not quite sure anymore.
Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, I don't know what people are looking for anymore. The Vikings allowed 114 yards through the air on Sunday. So he's been very good for like a large portion of this season.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't see a real way you could attack this defense successfully as an offensive coordinator. The biggest, I guess, weakness I see is they haven't turned teams over a ton. They're tied for 22nd in interceptions and 18th in fumble recoveries on the year. Haven't had a ton of big plays. That sort of changed against the Bengals. Maybe that's because it was the Bengals. Maybe because that's because they're regressing up towards the mean a little bit. I don't know. That's the one weakness I see. If that changes even a little bit, look out for the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, do you guys think this is the best defense that, we're all younger guys, so that any of us have had, the opportunity to, or the privilege to witness firsthand? Like, can you guys think of a better Vikings defense that you've gotten to see? No?
The Williams wall with Jared Allen and EJ Henderson. But I can't – those are like the only guys I can name. I can't name the cornerbacks. Antoine Winfield. There was a defense a couple years before that, I want to say. Like 2 guys had 9 interceptions on the year.
Brian Russell and
Corey Chavis.
Chavis, Coach Chavis.
Yeah. They both had 9 interceptions. So, this might not be the flashiest defense in terms of it doesn't get the most turnovers, but I would say it's probably the most suffocating defense. I think they're just dominant in all phases like other teams weren't.
Yeah. I think with all of the previous Vikings defenses that we could say were above average to good, there was always like a hole, I think, that you could still target. Like we would have had a really great defensive line, with Jared Allen and the Williams wall or something. But the secondary was kind of rocky, so if the front 7 weren't getting there, then you could expect some issues in the backside. But yeah, like you guys said, I just don't see it with this team. So so if I expanded this question, one of you guys mentioned, how this team compares to previous Vikings teams, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So I think we can probably all agree that the last time we saw a team as good as this Vikings version was in 2009. The year where Vikings quarterback Brett Favre led the team to a NFC Championship game. That was a really amazing team. I think a lot of us thought that team could have gone, and probably should have gone all the way that year and won a Super Bowl. My question to you guys, how do you think this team compares to that 2009 team, across the board? Is this team better than the 2009 Vikings in your guys' opinion? Austin? It's so funny. I never know who to go to first. So it's basically which one of you makes eye contact with the camera first, I'm going to call him. Or if you slightly move your mouth, even you are maybe thinking about saying something, you're just going to get called upon.
Yeah, that's fine. I remember, and I didn't look it up exactly, but I think that's part of the fun of football is kind of how we remember things. At the end of the year, the Panthers, I think, beat the Vikings. The Cardinals beat the Vikings. There were a couple shaky performances at the end of the year where you're like, oh, is this team good? Then they got to the playoffs. They played the Cowboys, whooped the Cowboys, and then there was that awful Saints game. But I think in terms of longevity, so not just this year and how the Vikings are going to do in the playoffs, but beyond that, in terms of the guys they've locked up, the players at key positions that are here that they don't have to extend, I think this team's going to be better longer. I don't know if it's necessarily more explosive offensively, but I think as a whole, they're probably a better team suited for multi-year success. The quarterback isn't gonna hit his head on the turf and get knocked out of football forever, knock on wood, but he's also not 42 years.
Just said that.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to Brett Favre. Remember at Soldier Field?
I know, but I can't believe you said it can't happen or it's not going to happen.
I knocked on wood. It's not going to happen.
So in your opinion, the defense is better. The offense is maybe not as good, but overall, it kind of levels out to be a better team overall.
Yeah, it's explosive in different ways. The Vikings were explosive in 2009 because they had Sidney Rice. You had Adrian Peterson. This team's more explosive in bunches, and I think they run the ball better consistently. And I think they're more fun to watch because they're schemed up a little bit differently. It's not just, hey, chuck the ball to Sidney Rice. So
the iceberg in the chat says the 2009 offense was much better than this year's team, but the defense lacked and gave up a lot of points compared to this year's, which I think we can probably all agree upon.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sam.
I think there's more talent on this year's offense just based on the fact that they are doing so well with Case Keenum, who was a backup to start the year and for his career before that. I mean, The 2009 offense was very good, but a lot of that was Favre. Look at what Sidney Rice did before or after Brett Favre. Not a lot. And he looked like one of the best receivers to ever come through Minnesota in that 1 year, and that's saying a lot. Yeah, Percy Harvin, Sidney Rice, Adrian Peterson, very, very explosive. This offense less so for sure, but the offense and the team I just think are more well-rounded. That 2009 team, I think to what Austin was talking about later in the year, those couple primetime games, they just looked like crap in. They just got blown out. I can't remember which ones. I think E.J. Henderson broke his femur in one of those games. But
yeah, his femur was
it was very bad.
So let's do this. What if we go position by position really quick, and you pick 2009 or 2017?
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Favre or Keenum?
Keenum.
Wow.
Favre's a joke. Favre's a joke.
Man, he's a Vikings legend.
like
what are you
Favre.
talking about?
We're all Favre there, right?
All right. So Peterson or McKinnon-Murray combo?
Peterson. You got to go Peterson.
All right.
McKinnon and Murray.
Bernard Berrien.
Wait, Austin, what are you doing? Are you
being
going
serious.
contrarian on all these? McKinnon Murray over Peterson 09?
I mean, because I think I'm looking at it like if you put those players, if you flip-flop the position, like if you flip-flop the year. So if you took Peterson in 2009 and you put him in this offense, he'd probably run for a shit ton of yards. Excuse my French. But I don't know if he would add the kind of passing attack that these guys do.
He wouldn't.
And if you put Murray and McKinnon back in 2009, I wonder if they'd be as successful.
Brett, settle this.
Don't be that guy, Austin. Come on, man.
I'm not trying to be that
We're talking
guy.
about one of the greatest running backs of all time in his prime.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And like Iceberg said in the chat, he made a good point. Chester Taylor as well.
Yeah, that's true. So as a duo,
Oh, that's right.
that was it was Taylor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I
Yes.
love playing along in the chat. If you guys want to continue doing that, that's pretty fun. All right, so Sidney Rice or let's say Stephon Diggs.
No, it's got to be Thielen.
We're
Talking number one to number one.
Yeah, but
Number
I'm
one.
thinking more position that they play, kind of like lining up.
So are you going to go Thielen versus Harvin?
I was gonna put Thielen versus Harvin just because Thielen in the slot, kind of. But I mean, whatever. No, I'm not gonna let you talk me out of this. It's gonna be Sidney Rice versus Stephon Diggs. No, you know what? You're right. Sidney Rice versus Adam Thielen. Let's do that. That's fine. That makes more sense.
That made it easier. Thielen.
Yeah.
Thielen.
Okay, so everyone's taking Thielen over Sidney Rice. Okay.
Categories.
Percy Harvin, Stephon Diggs.
Oh, come on. I love Diggs, but
Bernard Berrien.
Oh wait, I thought you were gonna say, "Oh come on." I thought you were gonna take Diggs.
oh no, man. Harvin when he wasn't getting the headaches.
Which was when?
Couple games.
It was pretty much all the
Pretty
time.
ponder. He seemed to have fewer headaches when he was playing with Favre. Funny.
It's like
Yeah.
one good season.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty
2012 was like his best season, wasn't it?
Was that when they were
offense?
Yeah.
With
Ponder.
yeah.
Okay, Bernard Berrien or Laquan Treadwell?
That other wow, that's a lot of suck.
Wait, what about Diggs?
We just did Diggs with Harvin.
Oh,
Keep up.
Jerry's right.
No, the number 3 is Treadwell.
I gotta go Berrien over that.
Berrien over Treadwell? Okay.
What do you
I
guys
feel
do?
like Berrien was terrible outside of that 99-yard touchdown reception from Gus Farrat
Yeah.
on Monday Night Football. And that was about it.
I hated
I
Bernard
agree,
Berrien.
but what has Treadwell done?
Treadwell still doesn't have that one play, yeah.
How about Devin Aroma should do?
No.
No, get that out of here.
All right. Well, we had 2 great tight ends that year, man. So I guess, okay, so I'm going to compare Shanko to Rudolph.
Rudolph.
I go Shanko.
I love Shanko, man.
Prisoner
Okay.
of the moment, maybe.
And then
know what, you love it,
Saucer
right?
or Morgan.
Ooh.
Come on,
Ooh.
what?
Right out.
This isn't
Drew-
even close. Come on.
Drew is gonna kill us if we don't go. Yeah,
Come on,
Klein.
you got to go with Klein Saucer.
It's got to be Klein Saucer. Yep.
Okay, Bryant McKinney or Reef.
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 I hated Bryant McKinney so bad. All right, Steve Hutchinson or Nick Easton.
Hutch.
Cut it off,
Hutch.
Hutchinson.
Nick Easton. No, I'm kidding. Steve Hutchinson. It's not even a question.
Okay. Sullivan, and then shoot, I'm blanking. Elfline. Sorry, I don't know why I was blanking his name. Sullivan or Elfline?
Elfline.
I like Elfline.
I gotta go Sullivan.
Seriously? Come on, guys.
Yeah. These guys, Brett, I think they're prisoners of the moment a little bit. I love Elfline, but Sully was pretty good back then. He's making Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
I think.
Herrera.
But better than Elfline is now.
Anthony Herrera versus Berger.
Berger.
Okay.
Berge.
And then we'll get out of the boring offensive line here in a second. Phil Loadholt versus Mike Remmers.
Oh, Phil.
I think you got to go with Big Phil.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Lovable. Huge face. Couldn't even fit on this round table.
Jared Allen versus Everson Griffin.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Gotta go equity, though.
Because at that time, wasn't Griffin Allen's backup?
Yeah, was he on the... Or was that Ray Edwards?
Oh, God. Ray Edwards.
He was left end.
You got to go Jared Allen.
On the other
Jared
side.
Allen.
Okay.
You got to go
Robinson
Jared Allen.
had long hair back then.
Ray Edwards versus Hunter. Danielle Hunter?
Hunter.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can all agree there. Kevin Williams versus Tom Johnson. It's an easy one.
Williams.
And then Pat Williams versus Linval Joseph. Ooh.
Linval there, actually, by a hair.
Oh, Pat was so underrated, though, too. I got to go Linval.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats, and I think right now Linval already has better stats. Okay, E.J. Henderson or Eric Kendricks?
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I feel like EJ's us kind of romanticizing. I'm going to say Kendricks.
Yeah, I think Kendricks probably gets a slight edge.
I'm leaning Kendricks.
Greenway or Barr?
No. Greenway was the weak side backer, right? Or was he strong side? Don't do this to me.
My bad. Is
it
Getty
or Greenway?
Who was the other linebacker?
Ben Lieber.
Yeah, Lieber was strong side. So it'd be Lieber versus Barr.
You're right. Okay, so Lieber, Barr. So you got to take Barr there, right?
Barr.
Even though Ben Lieber's awesome. Greenway or Gideon? I assume you got to go Greenway at that point?
Yeah.
Gideon, man. He's wrecked.
Okay, Winfield or Rhodes?
Ooh.
Come on, man. We just ran through all those stats. You're still... I mean, I know Winfield's a Vikings legend, but come on.
Best tackling corner in the history of the game, but yeah, Rhodes.
Yeah, but Winfield ain't shutting down those four receivers like...
No, he's not. No, he's not shutting down Devin Aroma should do.
Cedric Griffin or Trey Waynes?
Waynes.
I don't know. Cedric Griffin didn't have knees, so Trey Waynes.
Well, he did at that point, I think, and then it kind of went.
We should post this as like the hybrid 2009.
I go Griffin. Yeah.
Tyrell Johnson versus Harrison. I'm not even gonna. We already know. We already know. And then Mediu Williams versus Andrew Sendejo.
I think it'd be flipped, but both this year's.
Well,
Sendejo, yeah.
Wasn't Tyrell the strong safety?
Yeah, my bad. I flipped them.
I mean, those positions are kind of antiquated, so I don't know. But yeah, both this year's safeties.
And then
I just have a.
We should have been keeping score like how many 2017, how many.
You're missing kickers.
I know we're about to do them. Ryan
easy.
Longwell or Kai Forbath.
Longwell.
And then Cluey or
Quigley,
sorry.
Quigley.
I can't believe I forgot his name. He's been doing so good too.
Quigley.
Cassandra.
What?
That's what he goes by on Twitter. Isn't his Twitter name Cassandra Cluey?
Oh, something like that. Okay. So you're taking Cluey there? Just for the entertainment value?
No, I think he was a good punter.
I know.
He was.
Sean, all right, that wraps up the entire roster. What were you going to say, Sean?
Oh, I was going to say, now are we going to compare 1998's rosters to this?
Let's go. How much time do you guys have? We'll just keep going back. We'll just keep going back.
We'll just go offense, all 98, defense, all now.
I just want to ask you guys, do you guys think 2009's team was better than 98's? Did you guys watch much of 98?
Yeah.
I was 6 years old.
That was my first season as a Vikings fan.
Here's my thought on it.
Okay.
I think 98 was a better team. 15-1. I mean, could have easily been in the Super Bowl. Not same for 09, but I think 98 was a better team, but 2009 was better equipped to win the Super Bowl only because they were better on defense. And that's what I think about this year's team too. They're a lot better on defense. So 98, I think still would think was better, but I feel better about this team in the postseason.
I would take the 98 offense. I would take the 98 offense probably over any offense in the NFL ever.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah.
Or the 2007 Patriots. Like they're.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look who was on both teams.
Randy Moss.
Yeah. Our guy.
All right. Well, that was fun. We spent way more time on that than I thought we would. I wasn't anticipating doing the player-by-player breakdown, but I think it was fun, and everyone in the chat got to play along too. So thank you for everyone that did that. All right. So let's talk about the playoffs. Obviously, our Vikings are the NFC North Division champions, second time in 3 years. Suck it, Green Bay. Packers just got eliminated too because the Falcons lost. Falcons won Monday night over the Bucks. So looking ahead, the Vikings clinch a first-round bye this weekend if they win and Carolina loses. So that's obviously not the first seed necessarily. It's just either the first or second seed. I didn't really look at any of the playoff scenarios for the first seed still, but I would just assume that we need Philly to lose this weekend and next weekend. They have to lose both of their games.
We got to win both. They got to lose both.
They can't just lose one.
They have the tiebreaker?
I think they do because they beat the Panthers.
Common opponent.
Yeah.
Who do they play this weekend?
They play the Raiders.
I could see it. Where is it at?
Philadelphia. It's on Christmas Day or Christmas night.
That's probably going to be a win.
Yep.
So we're probably looking at the number 2 seed. And I guess that's okay. Because do we imagine...
Don't hate it. Because there's a good chance Nick Foles loses before we have to play the Eagles in the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say is, like, what's the likelihood that he beats some of the other NFC playoff teams?
Yeah.
What I wanted to... I guess that was our brief playoff update. I guess it wasn't super exciting. Austin suggested we should skip it, and maybe we should have because it was like super brief. And
basically win both games and root against the Eagles. So
love it.
That's basically my every weekend I just root against all the NFC teams except for the Vikings just to simplify things.
And the Panthers when they play the Packers. So
right. Well, obviously, I thought it went without saying that I root for whoever's playing the Packers. I wanted to ask you guys something about this past Sunday game, and this is kind of off topic. Was it bothering you guys towards the end of the game that we had so many starters up by like 3 scores? Like, how do you guys feel about that generally? Because I kind of feel like Zimmer has a tendency to leave a lot of those guys in there, and I wasn't feeling it this past weekend. Did it bother anybody?
I think they probably make the decision for themselves.
That's
a lot of guys.
Ridiculous reason though. Like, you're the head coach. Like, you don't just get to do what you want to do. There's a greater plan here that,
I think it was bad against the Browns, right? When they were in London, they played the Browns. Griffin got hurt. You were winning that game. There was no chance you were going to lose. I mean, part of me wants to think, and this is kind of me putting rose-colored glasses on, but part of me wants to think that you're kind of in that groove of we're dominating, we're kicking ass. You guys want to stay in because you're having fun. And when you're playing a team like that that's given up, I mean, they found out that morning that Marvin Lewis was leaving. It got reported out. You could tell they didn't show up to play. The Vikings showed up to play. It felt like not the momentum of the game, but the feel of the game, they were going to stay in.
So
but I get that it's bad elsewhere.
So do you think it's important for like team morale or something moving forward? Like what it offers in team morale kind of surpasses the risk of potential injury
I don't think there's that much of a risk. I don't think there's that much of a risk from the fourth quarter to, say, the end of the second quarter.
Wait, what?
I don't think keeping them in, I don't think that increases their risk. It's like driving without your license.
Of course it increases their risk. They're on the field. Anytime you're on the field, you're at an increased risk of being injured. If you're the risk of being on the field is more than the risk of being on the sideline.
Yes, right? But I'm saying how much higher is the risk in the fourth quarter than, say, the second quarter?
There's probably no more risk other than maybe you
you're on the field.
Maybe you get some Bengals players who have a tendency to be nasty that are just like tired of getting beat and go after someone's knees or something like that. But
sideline can be dangerous too. You guys see that sound guy? Tice. A lot of stuff happens there.
I don't know. I guess it just kind of bothered me, right? Like, I feel like there was like 5 minutes left on the clock or something. The Bengals were in the red zone, and Linval Joseph is in the game.
Yeah, I didn't think that was necessary.
Like, what are you doing? Like, you lose Linval, that's a game changer. You know, he's arguably one of your most important defensive players. So
I think that part of it too is Zimmer's an old school coach, and some people have a problem with the idea that he probably wanted his guys to step on their throats. One, because that's the team he came from, and he probably wanted to make a statement that, you know, we're not going to get our asses handed to us 2 weeks in a row. We're going to hand people their asses. So that's a weird way to say that, but
this is an all-time high ass count for Austin.
Yeah, dang man, Austin, I'm gonna have to like bring the bleep button for you next episode.
Salty, I like it.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
So
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
So what about? So we talked about, you know, how the Vikings can clinch the, you know, a bye week. What happens, in your guys' opinion, if they do that this weekend and Philly wins? So that means we've locked the number 2 spot. Philly's locked the number 1, right? In week 17, are you guys interested in kind of treating that game a little differently at that point? Or are you treating it like any other game? Because that's what we're going to hear, right? Especially Teddy Bridgewater. You know, people are going to be talking about putting Teddy Bridgewater in that game. What do you guys think about that?
I think, I mean, if it matters, Zimmer says, you know, if the players are healthy, they'll play. You know, if the game matters, I think they will. If it doesn't, I'd say just don't be stupid with it. Keep your star players out, your Pro Bowl type players out of there. With the depth that this team has is not as big a deal, kind of like Austin says, but just don't be dumb.
Yeah, I'm kind of pedal to the metal to the last bullets fired guy. I just think momentum is such a big thing. We see a lot of teams that have to play, still have to play, all their starters have to play week 17 to get into the playoffs and go make a run. We've seen it from the Giants. We've seen it from the Packers. And yeah, I would have no problem if you're up week 17, then starting to rest your starters second half. But I just think it's dangerous when you start giving guys multiple weeks off, which is what theoretically they'd have.
Right.
With that bye week.
Because I think if you actually, you know, like benched guys in week 17, they wouldn't play week 17. You have the week in between when the playoff starts, and then you have, you know, your first round bye. So you're potentially not seeing the field for almost 28 days.
Wait, is there a week in between the regular season and the playoffs? No.
I thought there was, no?
No.
So it's just 2 weeks, so 21 days? My bad.
Still.
My bad.
I think taking your foot off the pedal kind of creates a false sense of security. I think you want guys to feel like they're competing up until they don't necessarily have to compete until you get that bye week. Like, you want the bye week. That's the next step. And I think the Bears are a good enough team, at least at their core, defensively with Mitch Trubisky, that provides you kind of a tune-up, because they're not on the same level. But you're not playing the Browns. You're not playing who else is bad?
Bengals, the Buccaneers.
Yeah, they're just the laundry list of teams. So
Packers.
I think there's a little bit of an incentive to get guys in there. I think Rashad Hill should probably start a whole game at left tackle. Riley Reef probably shouldn't play week 17. Just get the vet guys their rest. Terrence Newman shouldn't play.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he practiced today. So.
I thought he did not participate today.
Limited.
Oh, he was limited today? I thought it said did not participate. Yeah. Sam, I kind of like your approach, man. Like, almost treat it like a preseason game. You know, to where you maybe and only treat it like a preseason game if if the starters come out and are dominant, then you maybe start looking at sitting some of your key guys. I think, Sean, the problem with what you said, like sitting some of your star players, is like you look at the defense, and if you say we're going to sit our star players on defense, you're basically sitting like everyone but Gideon, Tom Johnson, and Sendejo at that point. You know what I mean? Like you're basically
if the game
sitting
doesn't matter.
Huh?
If the game doesn't matter, what does it matter?
No, I know. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just like, I think that's part of the thing too. Is like, where do you draw the line with who doesn't play and who does? You know.
Oh, bring in all your second string guys if the game doesn't matter.
No, that's not what I'm proposing. I'm just saying, like, the defense is so good that if you do what you're proposing and you just don't play the studs, it's almost like you're bringing out the whole second team defense.
Why not? Get them some playing time.
And I'd be fine with that. I don't think you start the game that way. I think I probably agree more with Sam that if they're ahead by the half, kind of like we saw this week, then maybe you start pulling some of these guys out. I would definitely be getting Harrison Smith off the field. I'd be getting Xavier Rhodes off the field. I'd be getting Linval Joseph off the field, and I'd be getting Everson Griffin off the field if we're ahead by more than 2 scores at the half. Everyone else, yeah. And the offense, I think you could probably leave all the offensive guys in there.
So you're saying you should do that even if week 17 doesn't matter?
Yeah, I don't think.
Still start out.
I don't like the idea of not starting the starters. I can see maybe taking them out at some point, but I think like Austin and Sam are saying, I think it just too much time off. You got to keep momentum. Momentum is a thing, you know. Morale is a thing. You know, going into the playoffs, you know, feeling really good about the way you're playing is important. So.
And I guess I'm cool with that too. And speaking of, like, what's the college football? Aren't they off for like 2 months? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, before the bowl games, it's weird.
Yeah, but no, it's like I said, just don't be done with it. You can keep them in for a couple series. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. All right, guys, we got a couple more. Topics. All right, so biggest threat to the Vikings Super Bowl chances. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion on. It doesn't even have to be NFC either. You could say like, I don't want to face this team in the Super Bowl, or it could be an NFC team that you're worried about facing in the playoffs. So what do you guys got? I'm going to start with Austin.
I'm not really scared of any team in the AFC. I know the Patriots are good. I know the Steelers are pretty good. Jacksonville's not good. I can't trust Blake Bortles. If anybody, it's the Carolina Panthers. I think that the Vikings played them tough 2 weeks ago, but they're kind of that team that's up on that upswing. Cam Newton's playing his best football. Greg Olson's healthy. They're figuring out how to use Christian McCaffrey. Defense is back to forcing turnovers. I feel like they match up well with the Vikings, and they're probably them or the Rams too. I know we handled the Rams a few weeks or like a month or two ago, but they kind of are getting things going as well. So it's got to be one of those NFC teams. The only positive is that the Vikings get the 2 seed, home field advantage, and that's huge. So
the Patriots don't scare you at all?
I mean, I don't think the lore is there like it's been in the past. You know, it's not, oh, the Patriots, like they're so great, they're on their way to the Super Bowl. Like there's been chinks in the armor, and I think you can beat Sam. I don't know, he's getting really close to the camera, but
so is Sean.
I don't know.
I'm not really Patriots take.
Sam,
I am terrified by the Patriots.
Oh yeah, and you have a special reason why you're terrified by the Patriots.
Well, I don't know if that factors into it or not. My wife,
it
who's
does.
a lovely person, first of all.
Yes.
Okay. No insults.
Absolutely.
Not that many. No, she's a Patriots fan, and she grew up with that silver spoon in her mouth, and I don't think she quite understands how good she has it. But we keep like getting closer and closer to the possibility of a Patriots-Vikings Super Bowl, and it just, I don't know how I'll handle it. I don't know how I'll handle it if the Vikings are in the Super Bowl, much less something like that. It will be terrible for me and wonderful at the same time. The Patriots just scare me because they're everything that the Vikings are not. They've been there before. They're battle-tested. They're like the anti-chokers. They're the ones that pull victory from the jaws of defeat rather than the vice versa. I do like Mike Zimmer in a coaching matchup with Belichick better than some other coaches, but Belichick's still the best to ever do it. Give him 2 weeks off. I don't know that there are a lot of ways to beat him. One of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Their defense is actually getting better. It was dog poop at the beginning of the season, or as Austin would say, it was ass at the beginning of the season, and now it's getting better. And the lore, the been there before, the clutch attitude, all that terrifies me.
And the fact that your wife is a Patriots fan.
That too.
Yeah. Okay. Sean?
So I have there's actually 5 teams that scare me altogether.
Yes.
To be completely honest.
So all the playoff teams, basically.
Well, I'll put it this way: 2 are in the AFC. When we just talked about the Patriots, as well as the Steelers, who we've already lost to already this year. not as much, but they still scare me a little bit because they've been there before as well. And as far as the NFC, two teams might make it. Austin mentioned the Panthers; they scare me. Philly, you just never know. Like I said before, they are choke artists, but you never know. Vikings have lost to them in the playoffs before as well. And if they get there, the Seahawks still scare me just a little bit, but not as much.
The Seahawks definitely shouldn't scare any of us, but it's just that Russell Wilson factor he can make miracles happen when you have him, pinned down on the ground and you think you got him, you don't. So I can kind of agree with you, Sean. I'm not going to let you off the hook, though, man. You can't give me 5. You got to give me 1. Okay, so one team you're scared of. Like, what's the team you do not want to face?
I think the Vikings will be in the Super Bowl, so the Patriots.
The Patriots, okay. I think that would be mine, too. I'd also say the Steelers for just that they've been there so many times before, so they know how to do it. But do you think the fact that it's in Minnesota changes that? Because that's an advantage that's never been had before, right? I mean,
true.
I mean, no matter how many times Bill Belichick has been to the Super Bowl, no matter how many times Tom Brady's been, no matter how many times the Steelers have been, they have never played a Super Bowl at someone else's home stadium.
Yes, and the Vikings have never played one at home. So,
well, no one's ever played one at home.
Yes.
So, yeah. So do you guys think, like, I mean, I know playing it at home is obviously a positive. Not fully understanding how tickets are had for the Super Bowl and how it works with season ticket holders and things like that. Do you think it would be like a ton of Vikings fans there, or do you think there would still be a lot of non-Vikings fans that are at the game? Like, do you think it would be like, what would be your percentage of how many Vikings fans are going to be at that game wearing purple jerseys?
I think if the Vikings, so pre-NFC Championship game, it would be like any other Super Bowl. Vikings win the NFC Championship game. Minnesotans spend a lot of money from their savings account on tickets and swing the balance of Vikings fans versus regular fans versus people who live there and like football and want to spend a ton of money on tickets. So I think it really depends on if the Vikings make it. I do think that it creates more of a home atmosphere because people are going to be willing to spend the money on those tickets.
I know it'll be a home atmosphere regardless. I guess I'm just wondering to what degree. Like, Sean, do you have any opinion on this? Like, having been to so many games, like do you think it's going to be 50% Vikings fans in the stadium? Do you think it's going to be more like 75?
I honestly have no idea, but I think there will be a lot of Minnesota fans there in general, just through convenience factor. So, and the ones that will be there will make it loud. It'll definitely be a home advantage. So, if they make it there, I hope it's 100% Vikings fans, but I think it'd be more 75-25-ish.
Even if it's like somewhere, less than 50 even. I mean, I think it's still such a huge advantage because as a team, you're going to a building that you already are familiar with. You know where the locker room's at. You know what I mean? Like, you already have your established routine in this building. So it's going to be a bigger game, obviously, but I think the anxiety and the nervousness will be toned down a little bit because you'll have things that you can kind of lean on, everyday motions or every Sunday motions that you've kind of built up. What do you think, Sam? Nothing really to...
Yeah, I think the energy will be different if nothing else. What's weird is, will the Vikings be able to go in their locker room? I don't know how home or road team is determined in the playoffs. It'd be weird if they had to go in the visitors' locker room.
That's a good point.
But I have no idea how many fans
would have to, right? I mean, if they were they were the lower, how does that work? I can't remember. Is it the lower seed?
No clue.
Someone in the chat, find that out. I'm giving you a task. The next 5 minutes, you need to let us know so we can update
the
on
NFC
that.
team is the away team, and we'll get the away locker room and facilities.
There you go.
Regardless,
awesome.
The NFC team is the away team.
No, that's Iceberg in the chat. So thank you, Iceberg. Appreciate
Iceberg,
that.
good work. So yeah, Vikings would get the away locker room. That'd be bizarre.
But who's Iceberg?
I don't know his name.
Why are we just Iceberg? Just kidding.
No reason not to trust him.
All right, I'm just playing Iceberg. Appreciate that. That's kind of weird. Yeah, so they'd be in the away locker room. That kind of changes things a little bit. All right. Last topic, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. Pro Bowl rosters were announced this past 2 2 days ago or something like that. They were announced.
Yesterday.
4 Vikings made the Pro Bowl roster. You got Adam Thielen, who this is his first time ever getting to go to the Pro Bowl. I'm not sure if you guys heard about Adam Thielen before. He was an undrafted receiver out of Minnesota. I think he got a scholarship for like
incorrect. Actually, he was not a Gopher.
I didn't say it. Well, I just meant Minnesota. I didn't. Okay, sorry. I should have been more specific. I just meant like this.
Minnesota State and Cato.
I know, but I wasn't referencing a school. I was just referencing the.
You screwed it up, Brett.
Man,
Move on.
I'm not from Minnesota, okay? All right. Everson Griffin. This is his 3rd consecutive trip to the Pro Bowl. A little fun fact from Vikings PR account on Twitter, which is awesome if you guys don't follow it already. He's the first Vikings defensive end to make 3 straight trips since Chris Dolman in 1987 to 1990. Anthony Barr is getting to go to back to the Pro Bowl, and Xavier Rhodes, who has been selected for the back-to-back seasons, and that's the first time since a Vikings quarterback since Antoine Winfield. That also came from Vikings PR. Shout out to them. So I guess what's funny about the Pro Bowl is instead of spending time talking about the guys who got to go to the Pro Bowl, everyone likes to look at who didn't get to go to the Pro Bowl and complain about that. So let's just jump right into that. Obviously, we already talked about Teddy Bridgewater got snubbed this year. It's just disgraceful that he didn't get selected. But we also had Harrison Smith and Linval Joseph who got snubbed. What do you guys think about this? How much do you care? What does it mean to you? Someone tell me, Sean.
Well, yeah, just based off what I've seen, Linval Joseph, Harrison Smith, Case Keenum, throw him in the mix too, all got snubbed. Unfortunately, I really just do not care one bit. I think the Pro Bowl is a joke, and it should bring it back to Hawaii. Like, how cool was it when it was in Honolulu, at least? But yeah, I really don't care. What do you guys think?
Don't care either.
No, I really don't care.
All right,
it's fun to see.
Okay,
it's fun to see who made it. I never watched the game.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree Harrison Smith's the best safety in the league,
and he will get named to the team at some point.
All Pro is
going to be in the Super Bowl. All these guys are going to be in the Super Bowl.
No, but
that's the funny
he'll get named to the team once they start pulling out.
No, yeah, okay. I guess to play, because I generally agree with all you guys, then this just further solidifies the fact that the Pro Bowl is a joke. However, I do kind of care because I think it's a little unfair to Harrison Smith, especially, and Linval Joseph, just because some of these guys, like, this is their legacy we're talking about, right? Like things like, you know, if you get into the Hall of Fame or not are determined on how many Pro Bowls you went to, or you know, like that's something that you put on your resume when you're trying to get into the Hall of Fame, so to speak. Or you may have, you know, things in your contract, incentives in your contract where you make an extra $500,000 if you're selected to the Pro Bowl or something like that. So I know we all like to sit around and say, well, this is stupid, it doesn't mean anything. But it probably does mean something to these guys. So shouldn't it bother us a little bit?
If, when the Pro Bowl is played, whatever date that is, Harrison Smith has not been named to the Pro Bowl, I will, then yes, you'll have a case. But so many players pull out. It goes at least 3 deep on these every year. So many players pull out. Players are in the Super Bowl. That's why I just don't care at this point, because they're going to name so many.
Don't care at this point necessarily, but if we
right. I mean, I also don't care very much at all. He'll be fine, Harrison. That contract looks all right, but I hear what you're saying. Let's just wait it out. Yeah. You remember when Teddy was named to the Pro Bowl? Tremendous season. Pro Bowl quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, Pepsi Rookie of the Year. He wasn't their first choice.
In our hearts, he was.
Yes, that is, and still.
Yeah. Were there any other snubs on the team that you guys thought should have had a spot that maybe didn't get one?
Linval.
Well, yeah, besides Harrison and Linval. I mean, like, don't you think Kendricks has had a better season than
Kendricks?
I think,
maybe, yeah.
Has had a better season than Barr?
I think
Keenum.
Yeah, it'd be tough to put him above the guys who made it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a call too.
I'm trying to look at who the quarterbacks were.
You sound wonderful.
Carson Wentz. He's not playing. Russell Wilson.
Drew
Andrew
Brees.
Yeah.
Tough to put Keenum over those guys.
Yeah. But he is a MVP candidate, and that is another roundtable discussion.
MVP candidate Case Keenum.
He's really not, though, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
He's really
Teddy.
not.
Oh, come on.
He's not,
He's
guys.
the
I mean,
next-
if we're being serious, I love Case Keenum. He's played well, but he's not in the MVP conversation. Okay, come on. He doesn't
He's the
meet
next
the
Fran
criteria in any of the stats. You know, he's not throwing the team on his shoulders. You know what I
The
mean?
Teddy fan is talking about stats now. Unbelievable.
I've never argued that Teddy should be an MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like
Are you sure?
Are
you sure, Brett?
I'm absolutely positive. I've never argued that Teddy Bridgewater is the NFL MVP. I can say that with 100% certainty. I mean, come on, let's be real though. Like, we're talking about the best player in the NFL, the guy that is more valuable to his team than any other player in the NFL. It's not Case Keenum. I like Case Keenum, but if we're being real, it's not Case Keenum.
I think Case Keenum is definite. Tom Brady should win it, but I think Case is the MVP of the team this year. He has to be.
MVP of the team, yes.
Yes, I know. I'm saying trumped by Brady's importance to the Patriots. Now, if it's frustrating because like last year, was it last year when Jimmy Garoppolo played those first like 3 or 4 games for Brady?
Yes.
If he had a longer stretch and had success, I think that it lessens Brady's case for MVP because it proves that, hey, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is the MVP. I mean, he's won 3 in a row.
It's true. could be Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's Garoppolo.
Yang in the comments says ESPN listed Keenum 4th in MVP voting.
Really?
Well, there you have it. ESPN.
And some guys whose first name I won't pronounce. Hopefully that's not his actual name because I'm not trying to be offensive.
Bonner.
Oh, maybe that's it. Colin Coward said since week 10, Keenum was the #1 passer in the NFL. So there you go. I still don't really buy it, but apparently there's some people out there that think it. Not to slight Keenum, I just think that's kind of getting a little crazy. All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk about before we sign this thing off? Do we want to talk about Green Bay at all?
No. Oh, I almost cussed. I won't.
I am so tired of Green Bay fans, man. Like, I have never seen Green Bay fans act more pathetic than they have the past few weeks. It's like, did you guys see this thing today where Zimmer said what did he say? Like, he wanted to help the NFL. Like, he thinks the NFL should try and find a way to clean up hits or something like that.
And someone said LOL.
Yeah, and a Packers writer who will go unnamed laughed at that. Basically suggesting that, it's ironic that Zimmer would say that because, he's obviously coaching his players to be dirty or something like that.
That's what that was about.
I can't.
That's kind of the dumbest analysis. Just LOL. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, you're really going to spend your adult life belittling things on Twitter?
I think we all know what he was trying to say. I just think it's ridiculous that these guys are still holding on to the Vikings' dirty, Anthony Barr's dirty hit ruined our season.
Oh, they're so butthurt.
That's so stupid. Unnecessary hit.
But you know what, though? I'm so excited what it's going to do for the rivalry.
We were cheating.
I mean, can you guys, how much better the Vikings-Packers rivalry got this year? Like, it may have surpassed the Bears-Packers rivalry at this point because of this.
Oh, yeah, way better.
This whole thing. Because they're going to be hurt for so long about this and never going to let it go.
The dumbest thing is saying Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back to save the season. I'm not coming back to be the savior. Loses the game, goes to IR. It's so stupid. People are like, he was just rusty. 3 interceptions, no big deal. It's fine. Yeah, I gotta sign off before I start cussing. I'm gonna get mad. I had to call Brett the other day and call myself down.
He was right. He wasn't coming back to save the season.
Yeah,
accurately predicted.
So Vikings travel to Lambeau this weekend to play the Brett Hundley-led Green Bay Packers, who are eliminated from the playoffs. All right, guys, that does it for this episode. We appreciate you for watching, and I thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. I know this one ran a little long. Shout out to you if you're still watching this live. We appreciate you hanging around all the way to the end. We love you guys. If you haven't already, subscribe. Love seeing those little notifications pop up that we got more subscribers. If you subscribe and click that little bell, you'll get notified every week when we do the roundtable, when we go live. as well as when other videos are posted. You guys, you would have got a notification this morning that Sam posted a new bump and run. It's hilarious. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to go watch Sam's bump and run. It's awesome. Also, leave us a comment. We do our best to reply to every comment. We love the discussion. We'll see you guys next time. Speaking of next time, there is no live game after the Packers game because it's so close to Christmas, and I'm actually going to be at an office holiday party. So I will be unable to even watch the game, unfortunately, that Saturday night, which hasn't happened, and I can't even remember the last time I missed a game. But anyway, everyone, thank you again. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we will see you sometime next week. Skol Vikings.